Hi, you're welcome to my channel. And on this channel, I talk about anything, but most especially about life in the UK. Now, on today's episode, I'm going to be asking 7 important questions you need to be able to answer without stress if you are thinking of relocating to the United Kingdom. 7 very vital questions, 7 important things I think you should know. And if you are able to answer these questions wholeheartedly within you, and you don't have the stress, it's not going to be an issue for you before you relocate, then fine, you can as well move in the next minute you have an available flight into the United Kingdom. But I'll only be asking these 7 questions after the break. And by the way, I'm Adora. Welcome to my channel. I came across a post on Facebook some days back, and it was about this guy. He actually lives in the United Kingdom, and he was actually lamenting about his lifestyle in the United Kingdom. He was kind of comparing and contrasting the way he used to live back home in Africa and the way he lives right now. And from all what he was saying, it was very obvious that his life back then in Africa was way back then better than what he's actually experiencing right now at the moment. So he was just trying to tell people that if you have a good job back home, if you have a better means of income back home, if you're earning more back home, if you think you have a more relaxed lifestyle and all that comfort and whatever back home, that you should just not think of relocating, of leaving the country. You should just stick to where you are. That life back home and here is not the same. And he was also trying to say that he's going through so much stress compared to what he was going through when he was back home and all of that. And from the comment section, it was very obvious that Africans were not happy with his complaints, and a lot of comments came, and some people were saying things like, "Wow, are you trying to discourage us from from traveling abroad? If it's that difficult over there, why don't you come back? Let someone replace you." And people were writing things like, you must be a very ungrateful person. You have the opportunity to travel out, and you are there complaining when a lot of us back home are looking for means to travel and all that. And at some point the guy had to turn off his comment section because I think he couldn't bear the heat. But he is not the first person I've actually seen write such things on social media, or I've actually seen complain about life abroad compared to what maybe they must have been enjoying back home. He's not the first, and he will never be the last, because whether we like it or not, the truth must be told. I know it's a very sensitive issue, because most times when you talk about the stress people are going through abroad, and there's so many things to actually talk about. When you talk about these things, a lot of people think you're just trying to discourage them from coming in, or you maybe because they think you are enjoying some certain privileges over here and you don't want them to come and enjoy the same thing. And I totally understand, because I was in that shoes before. When I was back home, I remember very well, I used to pray so hard to travel abroad, like whatever it will cost, whatever it would mean, just travel. I've always wanted to, so immediately I had the opportunity, I grabbed it. So I understand when people are saying things like, "Oh, you're trying to discourage us, you don't want us to come over there, but you are there, you're enjoying, you're counting the dollars, you're counting the pounds, you're counting the euros and all that." I get where they're coming from, and I do not blame anybody at all for wanting a better life or a greener pastures, as it may seem. But before you make that very important step, because it's a big major step in your life, before you make that big step, I'd like to ask 7 questions. And it will be nice if you genuinely within you answer this question, because this will determine your next step. It will determine how prepared you are before you venture into this very big move. The first question is, what exactly are you going abroad to do? Be it coming to the UK, going to America, going to Australia, whatever. But for the benefit of this very video, I'll be talking about UK because that's where I live. So that's where I know much about activities and things that has to do with living abroad. What exactly are you coming to the United Kingdom to do? Are you coming to work? Are you coming for studies? If you're coming to work, have you gotten a job placement? Have you been able to secure a job that, the employers are ready to send you some form of support, like help you with bringing you over here, securing your job, getting you a visa, getting you a tickets, just being your backbone, sponsoring that major trip. Have you been able to do that? Or are you thinking that when you get into the UK and then you start fixing all that? If you're coming for studies, have you been able to secure admission in the university or the college of your choice? Is it certain that you have been accepted into the university? Have you been able to get an accommodation you're going to stay in when you move in? Have you sorted out your school fees? Because school fees in the United Kingdom or anywhere abroad is not a joke. Do you have the means of paying the subsequent fees? Because it's not just about paying for 1 year and you relax. When you pay and you get admitted and you move in, what's the plan to pay the other fees that will be coming in front? Have you thought about all this? If you haven't secured admission and you're thinking that when you get into the UK, you'll sort that out, you get a school of your choice and you get admission and all that, it's not possible. Because the visa for the school admission, if it's by scholarship or whatever, comes from your home country. So that is one major important step you have to ask yourself. Have you been able to sort that back home? Because that really matters. It's not actually possible to come into the country and start, looking for admission or thinking you're going to get something done within the UK. It's not possible. The second question is, where will you stay? Now, I see a lot of people. I remember back, I think that was about 2 years ago. I actually have this Facebook group page that I belong to, and it's for people who sell things. Like they sell things within the United Kingdom, and if you want to buy things, you just go on there and sort out. Ask around for who is selling what you want to buy, or if you have something to sell, you go on there and sell, and people who are interested in buying will buy. But for some reasons, I don't know why, someone mistakenly dropped this comment there, and I think it was by mistake. And she said something like someone is coming over from Nigeria, and the person actually wants a place to stay. That is there anyone in the group that can actually accommodate the person for her? And people were like, what do you mean accommodate? Are you looking for a house to rent for the person, or you need a hotel, or what? And she was like, no, that she just needs someone that that has a spare room for a while, maybe like 3 months, while before the person gets on his feet and gets something doing. And they asked her, spare room for 3 months, is a person ready to pay? Is he renting? And she said, no, just a spare room where the person, if you just have a spare room in your house where you can just give up for free. And people were like, are you insane? Like, are you kidding me? Because it's not done. Like, this is a society where, I don't know how to explain it. It's like Father Christmas doesn't just come every day here. So you don't just get freebies like you used to, or like what you're used to back home. So people laughed because it sounded very funny. Like, people were actually asking her, are you actually kidding me? Like, we just give up our room like that, just like. Now, it's not as if these kind of things don't happen, or you might not get a good Samaritan once in a while to give you some love and all that, but it's not so common. It's not so common. So when I ask, do you have a place to stay? It's because you'll be amazed to find out that even family members, even your family members that live here, are not going to be 100% comfortable with your idea of coming to live with them. Mm-hmm. Unless you have the ones who really, really um, don't care, or maybe they just really love you so much that they can give a spare room for 3 6 months for free without complaining. Because I've seen issues where people come from outside, from Africa, and they come and spend time with loved ones, with their family or their friends, and after about a month, they start having issues in the house. It could be issues that relate to, oh, you should turn off the light. Electricity is wasting, or you don't use the hot water like that. Oh, this is not Africa where you turn on the tap for 10 hours and let it flow. No, 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 water bill. Or you get into your room, and once you get into the room, they remind you, have you turned off the light in the sitting room because you were in the sitting room before? So when you leave the sitting room, you have to turn off the light before you get to the bedroom. You only use one light at a time. This kind of things causes friction in the home, in the relationship, in the family, in that house. So a lot of people, because of these issues, the cost of heating, the cost of electricity, the cost of water, the cost, and all that, are not really ready to accommodate someone who does not understand how the system works, who does not understand how exactly it works here. Because I remember back then in Nigeria, you turn on the light as long as you want. It doesn't take anything. It does not read anything. Nothing. It's not affecting anything. You can turn on the tap and have your bath from morning till night, and it's not really affecting much. You can leave all the lights in the house on for 24 hours and nothing they happen. But here, everything they happen, because at the end of the day, your pockets will get red. You will feel it. So these are the kind of things that a lot of people, when they don't know how to explain it to you when you come, it starts causing some sort of misunderstanding between you and them. And you that are coming in, because you don't understand why you should always turn off the lights, you don't understand why it should be a problem, turning on the tap for long, you don't see the reason why the house should always be cold, you cannot turn on the heater, and you don't understand that it's because of the cost of all these things that people are actually uncomfortable, like having you for long. Don't get me wrong. When you come in, the joy and excitement of, oh, my brother just came from Africa, my sister just came from Africa, will be there. Maybe like a week or two. But my dear, when it starts getting hot is when you now start overstaying your welcome. When you start staying for like a month and 2 months, and at that point, everybody starts getting uneasy with each other. And that's why I asked, where will you stay? Because at that point, when it gets to the point when your host starts getting uncomfortable with your presence in the house, then you don't have an option B. It becomes a problem. But if you already have a place to stay and you are very sure it's not going to be an issue, fine, that's not a problem at all. Just bear it at the back of your mind that, fine, you have actually ticked the second box. But another thing I want you to know is that if you're just coming into the UK just like that, like you're not coming in as a student, you're not coming in as a worker, and you just step in, and let's assume you even have someone to like host you for a week or two, and you decide to move and rent your own property, it is not going to be easy, because there are very strict measures that comes with renting. Renting property business these days has really gone like up the roof. Houses are very expensive, and the rules, the strict measures that come with it is, my dear, is not even something, I don't know where to start from. Even those that live and work in the UK are still finding it very difficult getting a property to rent, because there are certain things that they're gonna consider. In the first place, they're gonna ask you if you have worked for at least minimum of 6 months. You must have worked for the minimum of 6 months in the United Kingdom. You will have to provide your pay slips to back it up as a proof. Secondly, you have to bring a letter, kind of a reference letter from your previous landlord, from where you have lived before in the United Kingdom. So you see, it's a very big hurdle if you have not lived in the country for a long time and achieved all of this. So just coming in and thinking you're going to rent a house, think about it. The third on the list is, what's your plan? to regularize your stay. And this is for those that are not coming in as either students or workers. You just decide to come in with the hope that when you come in, you walk your way through, things will get better. Maybe you meet one or two friends or family who will put you through. That's fine. But in the long run, you will need to regularize your stay in the UK. When I mean regularize your stay, I mean you will need to get into the proper route to get your visa, to get your paper, to get your residence permit. Because a lot comes with this residence permit. It's not just about having the visa to just work. It gives you the freedom to move around. It gives you the freedom to travel. Because once you come into the country and you overstay your visa, you are in, that is automatically labeled an overstayer or illegal immigrants. And at that point, you cannot travel out. Once you step out of the airport, you step out of the country, you can never get back here. You can't come back. So the best thing to do, for like I always advise people, when you come into the country, any country of your choice, if you decide you want to remain there, the first thing to always think of, your first focus in mind should be, how do I regularize my stay? How do I plant my feet on this soil? Because that's the only way that you can open doors to other endeavors that you are actually looking to achieve. What's the means? How do you intend to regularize your stay? Because if you come in as a worker, you already have a visa. That's a work visa. If you come in as a student, you already have a student visa. But if you just come in like that, what's the plan? How long do you intend to hide from the government, from the system? How long do you intend to do black jobs? How long do you intend to run away from the police when you see them? Because these things happen from time to time. You will just hear a police siren and the spirit of fear will just tell you it is you they are looking for, and you will run when no man is chasing you. How long will you intend, to be uncomfortable in a strange soil? So these are the things you should look forward to. You should research the different ways of regularizing your stay. You will need to make a lot of researches and ask a lot of questions before you even make that bold step of traveling out. And then the next one I also want to say is, no matter what job you have there back home in Africa, you need to understand that your job over there might not be relevant here. You need to understand that no matter the position you have attained back home, no matter the kind of job, career you must have had, the position you must have attained and all that, may not work for you here. Now, I said may because it does not relate to all kinds of jobs. There are certain jobs in this country that are in high demand. So if you have had an experience in these jobs back home, it will be of great deal if you come in and you continue. And definitely the sky is the limit because that is what they want here. Now, jobs like nursing, healthcare, social services, that department is in high demand. So if you have an experience from back home and you come into the country and you want to continue in that path, that's a beautiful idea, beautiful opportunity for you. But if you have experience in jobs or careers that are not in high demand here, when you get into the country, they are not interested in how highly talented or whatever that you have, because it's not in high demand. And it's like, to them, it doesn't really make any difference. It's like you should even start afresh and just go to the university again and do what they're used to or what they want. So if you have jobs that are not, in the list of what they have, in the list of shortages here, it's almost as good as you not having a job here at all. Because in the first place, this is a country where most people kind of start afresh. You start afresh, irrespective of that degree or that qualification or that position you have attained back home. You kind of start afresh, except for those in the list of these shortages of jobs I have just mentioned. Because one thing you should understand is that when you come into this country, their pattern of teaching, their pattern of education, their pattern of qualification and learning and all that is what they appreciate. That is what they are used to. Is what they, because that is what they taught it. So definitely they know exactly what they taught to you. They know exactly the education, the impact they have made in your life during your school, your studying. They understand all that. But when you're coming with something different in here, it's a kind of struggle. They're trying to like understand exactly where to fit in, if your qualification matters, if it's, it's like fitting is a round peg in a square hole and all those kind of things. So they're trying to know how to adjust, how to bring in your own and to merge it to their own to see how it works. In the same vein, no matter what you study, in most cases, I've seen a lot of people that come from Africa, and when they get in here, they are either doing jobs that they never dreamt they will ever do. Yes, so be ready to experience that culture shock, because this is a country where irrespective of who you know or how qualified you are or how rich you are, you don't jump the queue. It's like everything comes organized. You don't just say, oh, because I know somebody, I will just get that job of my choice. It's not like that. And this is a place where in most cases a lot of people come from home thinking, oh, because I studied architecture back home, when I come to the UK, I'll just continue with that. Or because I studied quantity surveying back home, or because I studied estate management, or because I studied this or that when I come into here. But you'll be shocked to know that when you come into the UK, you might secure a job in security. Yeah, you may be a security man. That's how it goes. You might get that job first, and then in most cases too, for the ladies, when you come into this place, the kind of jobs that are readily available: care. You work as that is to work as a healthcare assistant, and then these are the kind of jobs that you actually do not need university degree for, because you get these short courses or trainings that you can do easily that can just get you this job. Now, I am not in any way trying to undermine these jobs. They are beautiful jobs that fetch you good pay if you know exactly what you are here for. But what I'm trying to tell you is that don't bring in that degree of that your aviation degree you did back then and think you will just come here and secure a job in the aviation industry. It doesn't work like that. It doesn't really work like that, except, like I said, except that job is in high demand. Then that is when you will know that you have just hit a jackpot. And then another thing you should know, a lot of people back home will never be caught doing a cleaning job. You will never be caught wiping people's ass and all that. But when you come here, it's something you will just get used to, because you have to survive. You just have to survive. If those are the only jobs available for you at that moment, you have to take it, because like I said, you just have to make do with what you have at the moment. And at this point, that is when you drop your pride, you drop your ego, you humble yourself, and you put food on your table. The next is, if you have kids, what are your plans for them? Now, if you're a married couple and you're moving in together with your children, what are the plans? What exactly do you think you are about to do? Because now, if you're making a mistake alone, it's different from when you are making a mistake and with children involved. It's a bit more difficult. So if you're coming in with kids, bear it in mind that in UK, there are no house girls, there are no maids, there are nannies, there are babysitters, but they come with a huge price. Like, you won't even want to know how much it is to pay for one child care in a month. I'm talking about minimum of 400, at least £400 a month to get a professional child minder, minimum, at least. Yeah, because I remember Some years back, when my last baby was just roughly a year, she wasn't even up to a year, and we wanted her to start nursery, kindergarten, this their baby group, because we needed to go to work. Mommy and daddy needs to work. So we took her there to get her registered. But when we got there, like, we didn't even wait for them to finish talking before we took to our heels. Like, we were running and our feet, our legs were touching our head because it was just too expensive. It was too, like, how much are we earning that we would now use that a month? When they showed us the form, we were like looking at it, and I was asking her, is this for a month or a year? And they said, oh, sorry, it's for a month. And I was like, okay, now. Then we left because it was too much. We had to leave and then keep her in the house for some extra time while we think of how to, walk around her. We have to think of how to walk around her, because honestly, if you have a child, paying for one child's childcare, like I said, minimum of £400, £500, like, what am I talking about? Okay, yeah, the one we got was far more expensive than that. There are people that charge you like 400, 500. That is the black market. Like if you see someone that just came in from Africa and the person maybe is just looking for something to do in the meantime, and you decide to. I heard there are people like that do such jobs. They just want to like help you with your children, and you give, but the risk there is that these people are not qualified child care and child minders. So if anything happens to your child, there's no insurance to cover you. If anything happens, if the child gets injured or whatever, there is no insurance. And you, the mother that took the child to that nanny or child minder, will be in trouble. So if you want to use the services of a professional child minder, then be ready to pay through your nose. These are questions you should ask yourself. If you now have 2 children and you need to work, and you're talking about putting them in childminder or whatever, how do you go about this? So if you're moving in with your entire family, your wife and your children, or your husband and your children, ask all these questions because they matter a lot. Because you will not just move into the country immediately and then everything starts working out, and maybe you just get your visa immediately, or you get to school immediately, or no. Some of these things take time. That is especially if you have not been granted the visa from home. I'm talking about those that just step into the plane and make their way to UK without sorting these things back home. So think about it when you're about to move into the UK. How do you intend to do that? And then secondly, even when you move into the UK with your visa granted to you from home, you should be able to sit down and talk to yourselves, husband and wife. Now we're moving into the UK where there might be no grandma to help you with the children. There will be no nanny, there will be no house girl, there will be no aunties or uncles or cousins or family members, nobody. It's just you, mommy, daddy, and children. How do you work around your kids? Who is going to work and who is going to sit at home to look after the children? And mind you, in a country like this, where 2 people are working in the family, where husband and wife are working, the income coming home is still not enough. Because by the time you deduct all your bills and your rents and this and that flying out, the money is gone. So the house, the family where 2 people are working, the income is not enough. Talk less of where only one person is working. So this is really not a country where you do your housewife things. Like, it doesn't really work, because if you decide to just sit at home and I'm a housewife, I'm a full-time housewife, you're only punishing that man, or rather the man is punishing himself, because the whole load is going to be on him. By the time he pays the house rent, he pays the council tax, he pays the insurance, he pays the days, I tell you, one day he will just drop dead, because the weight of the stress, he's not going to be able to come out of it in a long time. So this is a country where if you are married, if you are in a relationship, you have to work things out, how you intend to achieve it successfully without stress. Now you can decide, either the husband goes to work at night and the woman goes to work in the daytime. So when the woman comes back at night or in the evening, the man goes to work. So by so doing, one person is there with the kids. You walk around the kids. In a country like this, it is the children first. You work around them. Make sure that whatever kind of job you are getting is a job that will enable you to have time for your children, to have time for the family. Except if you are single, you have no children, that's a different thing. Then the next thing I want to ask is, for those single parents, single mothers, single fathers intending to travel down to the UK with their kids alone, think about this very, 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 very carefully, because in a case like this, it's assumed that because you're single, um, there is no help from the other side. You're doing everything. You are the mother, you are the father to these children. How do you intend to now walk around the children? Because it's not like in the case of when you are with somebody and you go to work and the person is at home looking after the kids, and the person goes to work and you're there. You're not taking turns to anybody. It's just you. So how do you intend to make a living, to survive, to work, to to make that money while you are the only sole carer of this child? Ask yourself these very, very serious questions. The next one is, if you know you have promised someone marriage back home, if you're a guy and you're dating a girl and you've promised her that, you know what, give me from now till 2 years. Let me quickly run to UK, make money, and come back, and I'll marry you or I'll bring you over. Or if you're a girl and you're in a relationship, and then for one reason or the other, you tell your fiance, okay, you know what, I just want to go to London. I just got this visa. I need to go to London. Give me some time. I'll come back, and then we get married, or I'll send for you. Just engage me now, so that when I get over there, and once things just get better, I will bring you. I'd like you to take a step back and think properly before you accept that marriage proposal, or before you promise marriage to anybody. Be very, 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 very careful, because we have seen people that come into the country and it takes them years. I mean years to get visa. It takes them years to get residence permit. It takes them years for them to come out of that stagnation of no paper in the country. Because the moment you apply for your residence permit, that is, if you have reasons, because you must even have reasons, there must be a particular route you should be able to take before you get your residence permit. If you have reasons to apply and you apply, it still takes time to be granted. That is even before your reasons come. But if there are no reasons for your application, or for one reason or the other, it's just taking time. You've been in the country for years, or you've been in the system like asylum, and you've been in asylum for years and years, and you can't even see the light at the end of the tunnel. You don't know how long you're going to be there for. You don't know how long this whole process is going to last. You're just in the country, no paper, no job. You can't travel out. You can't go to school. You can't do much with your life. And meanwhile, you have promised somebody back home, give me 2 years, I will come and or I will send for you. And now it's like 7 years, and you have not sent for the person, because you definitely cannot send for somebody when you don't even have a full hold on where you are. And it's like 7 years, and the person has not seen you back home to pick him or her, and you have not sent for them to come here. They won't understand what you're going through. No matter what you try to explain, they will never understand that it's that difficult. They will just think maybe, oh, you found someone else and you have moved on. That is the things that actually rings in their mind. Oh, he has dumped me here, or she has dumped me here and she has moved on. But they won't understand the struggles in getting your residence permit. To be honest with you, getting a residence permit, especially in the UK, is like striking a gold mine. It's like winning a lottery. You will never understand that feeling unless you suffered for it. I'm not talking about British citizens that were born here, or maybe that have mothers or fathers that are citizens. I'm not talking about those type category of people that didn't go through stress to get it. I'm talking about people that have stayed in the system for a long time, and the paper was not forthcoming. And when it finally came, it's like a breath of fresh air. until you pass through that process before you can actually appreciate it. But leaving someone back home and explain all these things to them, they will just think you've moved on. Maybe you've just moved on, you've married one white lady or you've married one white guy and you've just dumped them and, and all that. That is also comes to their mind. So be very, 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 very sure that if you even have to promise anybody something like that, it should be someone that understands. You should be able to sit down and tell the person, explain to the person, just in case it doesn't work out like this, be patient. Just, you know how you're going to chat yourselves out. But let the person understand that the road to success is not an easy one. The last but not the least, abroad, the Western world, UK, is a place where marriages are tested, where the loyalty in marriages are tested, where the peace in marriages are tested, where the love, the unity, the togetherness, and the everything that comes with marriage is tested. Back home, we are used to the idea of a man marrying a woman and the woman doing most of the house chores or getting a housemaid to do these things while the man goes to work. And here it's not that common because the stress in the country is so much that you cannot afford to put everything on one person. Here, with that understanding between you and your partner, you and your husband or you and your wife, you will learn to share things. Know it from there that if you even move in over here with anybody, be it your husband or your wife, don't be shocked, don't be surprised when you have to adjust your lifestyle. You have to adjust to the way of living here. You have to adjust with the way things go here. You will have to share. If you don't know how to share things before, you will not learn to start sharing. You will have to share the house chores. You will have to share the rents. You have to share your bills. You have to share your expenses because you cannot afford to dump everything on one person. Now, the man cannot say because, oh, I am the man, don't worry, I will shoulder all the responsibility. My dear, it's a lot, especially if you are not so financially comfortable. One thing you must know is that living in the UK, I have come to understand that the system is not built to make you rich. No. It will only make you as comfortable as you can be. It will only make you as comfortable as they want you to, get the basic things of life. Have a roof over your head. If you have a car, fuel your car, feed your family, take care of the kids. And if you have anything extra in your account, you should be thanking God. But by the time all the expenses, all the rents, the bills come and suck your account dry, you will understand that this is not a job for one person. That is when you will need an extra hand. And at this point, that is when you will say, okay, sweetheart, enough of that honeymoon. It's time to get to work. Don't worry, you go get a job. Even if it's a part-time job, I'll, take care of the children while you're gone. This is where the issue of sharing comes in. Because now, madam will go to work, even if it's a part-time job. And you, Oga, will have to take care of the kids for the time being. And sometimes madam comes back very tired. Or maybe she's not even there. So if she goes to work, won't you feed your children? As the man of the house, you will feed your children. If the baby poos, you will have to clean the baby poo. Even if you don't do it before in Africa, you will learn to do it here. You will clean the poo. If the baby is hungry, you will give him or her milk. If the baby is crying, you will pet him or her to sleep. Even if you don't do that back home, here you will have to do it. Secondly, when I mean testing your love and all that, because somehow the Western world has kind of been built to accommodate the women's complaint more than the men. In some ways, it favors a woman more than a man. You now begin to discover that a lot of women take this to the extreme, like they take advantage of the fact that the system kind of listens to women more, that the system kind of favors women more. So, when some women just know about this, even when the man just tells her, hey, shut up, just a little argument in the house, she flares up and she wants to call the police and she wants to escalate the matter that does not even have, there is no reason for the escalation. Maybe there is no reason for the argument in the first place, because she feels that she has an upper hand when it comes to the relationship. She feels that when she voices out her opinion or her cry, that she will be heard and the man will be criticized and, if possible, jailed and all that. She takes it to an extreme and she decides to punish the son of man, which is not very good. So you have to put at the back of your mind that just the way we have domestic violence for women, we also have domestic violence for men. So the ladies, don't always think that things will always work in your favor as a woman, that once you just pick up the phone and ring, they just come and handcuff the man and take him off. I've even seen issues where it is even a woman. The woman called the police for her husband, but when the police got there, you know what they did? They didn't just handcuff the man and took him away. They decided to investigate. They did a mini investigation there on the spot, and they discovered that it was even the woman that was at fault, and they picked the woman and they took her away. So before you come in as a couple, be sure to tidy up all those loose ends, anything that will make you vulnerable to the system. Be sure to talk to each other. There should be, I'm not saying relationships don't have problems or you don't have shortcomings in relationships or in your marriages, but be careful not to use the system to destroy something that should not have been destroyed in the first place. Don't take advantage of everything that is being thrown at you, because not everything that looks good is actually good. So this is my little advice and the 7 questions I have for you before you decide to step into the country. If you have been able to answer these questions wholeheartedly without stress, what I mean without stress, like these questions is not necessary, then fine. What are you waiting for? The airport is open. Find your way and start coming in, because at the end of the day, I think it is you that will have to answer whatever questions you have for your life. Thank you very, very much for watching my channel today, and God bless you.